Hi, my name is Rabbi Dov Emerson. I'm the head of school at YULA HS in Los Angeles, California, and I'm also a very proud alum of NCSY. I have very fond memories of all my Shabbatonim, especially my first one back in 5th grade in Memphis, Tennessee. I had the privilege of participating in NCSY all throughout my years as a student, as well as an advisor, and eventually a staff member as well. And it's an absolute privilege to be invited to participate in the Alumni Dvar Torah project. This week's Parshat Kedoshim, talks about the concept of Kedusha, commonly referred to as holiness. When you ask the average person, what do they think of when they think of someone that is holy? They usually describe to you something along the lines of someone with a long white beard, long flowing hair, a staff, light coming out from behind their head, something along the lines of what the world of Hollywood has chosen to portray Moshe Rabbeinu, Moses, as. Or perhaps it's some sort of guru from the Near East who resides up on a mountain somewhere where people come from far and wide to seek advice and guidance. In fact, we have a slightly different concept of Kedusha. We see in this week's Parsha that God does something unusual. Instead of telling Moshe Rabbeinu to gather up the Zakenim, where Hashem will transmit to Moshe his words, and Moshe will then transmit it to the Zakenim, to the elders, who will then pass it along to the rest of the Jewish people, God tells Moshe, gather up everyone. I have a very important message. What's that message that has to be spoken to the entire people at once? Kedoshim tiyu, you shall be holy. What is the reason for this directive? Because I, Hashem, am holy. Now it seems rather strange. Usually the Torah is very economical with its words, and yet over here, it's giving us a directive that, with all due respect, seems kind of obvious. To be holy? What is the significance? What's the new idea? And our sages have clarified for us what exactly this directive was. And in particular, the explanation of the Ramban is one that has always resonated with me. What is the significance of the message of Kedoshim tiyu, of being holy? The Ramban explains that Kedusha really means to be separate. He explains that as Jews, we are charged with separating from the profane and elevating every single thing that we do. For example, we all know that the hallmark of the Friday night Shabbat experience is Kiddush, which is made over a cup of wine. This very same substance that when abused can make a person act like an animal is now taken and separated and sanctified when it's used in a manner that is used to enhance our relationship with Hashem. The Ramban is sharing with us a very subtle but absolutely foundational idea in our religion. The Torah allows us to participate in certain activities while others are prohibited. What makes an activity prohibited is not the activity itself, but rather the context which it falls into. Everything in this world can be utilized in a manner that elevates us or debases us. The goal is to strive for Kedusha, for separation, in which we elevate the activity, and in doing so, we elevate ourselves. Sometimes the boundaries are dictated by Jewish law. Sometimes we need to be sensitive to the spirit of the law as well. Even when a particular activity is permitted, we must be sure that it does not become overemphasized to the point that we become, as the Ramban writes, a naval b'reshus haTorah, a disgusting person with the permission of the Torah. The mission of Kedusha is a challenging one. In a certain sense, it would be much easier to live in a world where simply everything was off limits. Instead, we are charged by God to engage with the world around us, to benefit from all that it has to offer, but to do so within the framework of Jewish law, in a manner that elevates ourselves and brings us closer to Hashem. When we follow this approach, we are truly mimicking Hashem's behavior, and in doing so, we will, God willing, bring more light into the world. Shabbat Shalom.